Marrow Lane origins. Before the sign, Marrow Lane didn't start as a street. It started as a shortcut. Back when this neighborhood was still fields and tree lines, there was a narrow dirt path that cut behind the old orchard. Kids took it to get home faster. Lovers took it to avoid being seen. Men with work boots took it because it shaved 10 minutes off the walk to the highway. Everybody used it. And everybody, sooner or later, noticed the same thing. Sound behaved wrong on that path. A laugh would come back to you a second late. A footstep would echo ahead of you instead of behind. If you called someone's name, it would travel farther than it should, like the air was hungry to carry it. People joked about it at first. Then, in 1952, the jokes stopped. That year, a summer storm tore through the orchard and dropped a tree across the path. Roots ripped up like a hand clawing out of the ground. When the county came to clear it, they found something tangled in the exposed roots, not bones, not a body, a bell. Small, brass, old-fashioned, the kind you'd hang on a shop door. No one could explain why it was there. They turned it in, filed a report, and, because there wasn't a law against weird, one of the men took it home. His name was Harold Klein. He lived on the nearest property line with his wife and 2 daughters. He cleaned the bell with vinegar and a rag and hung it on his back door like a joke. That night, it rang once. Not because anyone touched it. Not because the wind moved it. Just one clear chime in the dark. Like the house had taken a breath. Harold got up, checked the door, checked the yard, checked the latch. Nothing. He went back to bed. The next day, his youngest daughter told her mother she heard someone walking in the hallway after the bell rang. Her mother said it was the house settling. The next night, the bell rang again. One chime. Always the same time. Always from the back door. And after it rang, something began to happen in the house, small at first. A cabinet door left open. A lamp switched off. A window latch undone. Things that could be dismissed if you wanted to keep living like nothing had changed. Then Harold did what people always do when they think the world is still normal. He tested it. On the 3rd night, he sat in a chair facing the back door with a shotgun across his knees and waited for the bell to ring. When it did, he stood up fast, ready to catch the trick. And that's when he heard it. A second bell. Not from his door. From somewhere farther back. Out behind the house. In the orchard. Down the dirt path. A single chime answered his. Like a call and response. Harold didn't sleep after that. Not really. He started leaving notes for himself. Instructions in case the nights got confusing. Don't open the back door after the bell. Don't follow the second ring. If the lights go out, don't turn them on. He called them house rules. He thought he was being careful, but Marrow Lane doesn't care what you call a thing. It cares what you give it. The 4th night, Harold's wife heard her name whispered from the backyard. Soft, familiar, just loud enough to be tempting. She opened the back door. Harold said later that he heard the hinges before he could move, like the house had waited for that exact sound. He ran outside, barefoot in wet grass, sweeping the yard with the shotgun. Nothing. No footprints. No broken branches. His wife was standing in the doorway, staring past the fence into the orchard, like she'd forgotten why she'd opened the door in the first place. He asked what she heard, and she said something that made his blood go cold. "It sounded like me," she whispered, calling myself. After that, the bell didn't ring every night. It rang when it wanted. Sometimes once, sometimes twice. And every time it rang, the Kleins lost something small. A set of keys that never turned up. A family photo that went missing from its frame. A page torn out of a book and put back upside down. Not stolen, offered. Because that's the first truth of Marrow Lane. It doesn't take what you guard. It takes what you dismiss. The county decided the orchard needed to be developed the next spring. New homes, paved roads, a tidy little loop to sell the idea of quiet. They cut the path into asphalt. They tore out the trees. They built right over the place where the roots had lifted, where the bell had waited, where sound had always behaved wrong. And the funny thing is, once the street was paved, the wrong sound didn't disappear. It got organized. Houses went up. Families moved in. And the same pattern followed them like a shadow that finally had corners to hide in. A lamp clicked off in one home at the exact moment the back doorbell rang in another. A whisper traveled through vents like it had learned how to use them. Porch lights blinked in sequence, not like electricity, like signaling. People started leaving notes, just like Harold did. Rules slid under doors. Warnings taped inside cabinets. Handwritten lists passed to new tenants with the keys. Not to scare them, to keep them from feeding the lane. And that's the second truth of Marrow Lane. Once a thing is built over, it doesn't die. It learns the shape of what's built. The street got its name at a town meeting. Years later, when someone asked why the new loop road still didn't have a sign. A tired clerk looked at the map, saw the development line drawn where the old orchard marrow used to run. Sap line, root line, whatever you want to call it, and wrote down the first word that fit. Marrow Lane. They planted the sign at the entrance like a boundary, like naming it would make it behave. But names don't tame things here. Names invite them. Because that's the oldest rule. The one that started before Harold, before the bell, before the asphalt. When you give something a name, you teach it how to answer. And if you live on Marrow Lane long enough, you'll hear it answer. Not with a voice, with a bell. One clear chime, somewhere it shouldn't be. And then, if you're unlucky or curious, you'll hear the second ring, farther down the street, waiting for you to follow.